The river. For centuries, all over the world, a source of life. Sometimes literally. Without fresh water, no harvest. Prosperity arises on the banks. Not for nothing does 90% of the population of Egypt live in the Nile Basin. From time immemorial, the river has often been the transport artery for a whole area, sometimes for a distance of thousands of miles. These people have been traveling on the Congo by boat for a few weeks. During this time, a sailing village takes shape. In India, the river Ganges has spiritual value as well. And at the end of the river, economic activity begins. The origin. Sometimes a source, sometimes meltwater. Small streams and bigger ones join and become streams and rivers. Damaging weather. Unnavigable for ships. Destructive weather. Rivers that burst their banks. The floods of the Mississippi are notorious. A river also carries sand and sediment on her voyage to the sea. That deposits when the water comes to rest. In bends, an obstacle for shipping, especially at the estuary. The delta, where sometimes in the shallows a unique landscape arises, complete with vegetation. But then man intervenes to make the river navigable. By dredging, for example, or with underwater constructions to influence the flow so that the river erodes itself and keeps its depth. Dams to tame the river, such as the Three Gorges Dam in the Yangtze-Jiang, where floods claimed 300,000 lives in the 20th century alone. For this dam, 1.2 million people had to move house. The hydroelectric power plant in this biggest dam in the world will supply 20,000 megawatts in the future. And in this way, the power plant in the Aswan Dam on the Nile supplies sufficient energy for the whole of Egypt. Locks. As a drain in a dam, as a separation between fresh and salt water, and to bridge differences in height, of sometimes more than many dozens of feet. Various lock complexes in the American St. Lawrence Seaway, which belongs to the largest hydraulic engineering works in the world, form a connection between the Canadian Lake Ontario and the Atlantic Ocean. And if necessary, man himself makes a waterway connection to evade an unnavigable circuit of bends and to make it fit for modern inland ships. Transport on the river flourishes with good waterway connections. This way, container transport by water alone rises by some 10% a year. Compared to road and rail, internationally, some 65% of goods transport is by inland shipping. Amongst other reasons, the enormous capacity. A modern container ship transports as many as 470 trucks. And this push-barge combination on the Mississippi replaces some 3,000 trucks. Moreover, transport by water has room to grow. A river like the Rhine can easily handle 7 times more ships in the future than it does now. And on the rivers, and particularly on the estuaries, economies flourish. But economic growth also creates obligations, such as protecting good water quality by mutual agreements between river states to prevent, for example, industrial dumping. Such agreements on the sustainable development and control of rivers will become more and more important in the coming years for all rivers of the world. Other agreements too are crucial. Uniform regulations on free passage instead of raising tolls, as for example laid down by the states bordering the Rhine in the Mannheim Charter. Safety first, of course. Amongst other means, an advanced traffic control system, as here near the Waal, the Dutch part of the Rhine. It's the busiest river in the world with 165,000 ships a year. Via a reporting system, cargo, destination and crew of every ship is known. At any moment, because information travels electronically with the ship for a quick and safe passage. Transport by water, safe, economical, clean and cheap, carries millions of tons a year internationally, with an estimated growth of 10 to 15% annually, brought about by innovations and other means, for example by even larger, faster and cleaner ships, or by new logistic concepts, where the transport from producer to supermarket distribution centers is done by special pallet ships. The loading and unloading process is fully automated. Growth also comes from special transshipment centers where rail, road and water are connected. In all these developments, the Netherlands plays a leading role. Almost half of all inland ships sail under the Dutch flag. Because of a large hinterland and because of ship-owning companies with an international scope, Rotterdam was able to develop into the largest port in the world. There's a condition to all this, a careful development of the rivers, from a long-term vision, with a lasting balance between economy, environment and ecology, by government and business sector together. And that goes for all the rivers of the world.